Library TV, a.k.a. WLTV, the #1 wine show on the internet. And this is BBQ Central.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show, the show where we talk about all things that are important in the world of barbecue. From big-name interviews with competitors on the barbecue circuit, grill manufacturers and pit makers, to advice on cooking brisket and ribs. You'll find it all right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Your host, Greg Rempe, is a backyard barbecue and grilling fanatic and loves to talk about his passion, which many of us share together. You can learn more about barbecue and grilling by visiting the website, thebbqcentral.com. Now, let's get in the smoke. Here's your program host, Greg Rempe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Barbecue Central Radio Networks proudly presents the really big Barbecue Central Show. Perhaps you didn't know we talk about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling when we do this show each and every Tuesday. We broadcast live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. In very secret societies, it's known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. That happens to be Cleveland, Ohio. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on a Tuesday, and lots of great things lined up for the show. Here's what's happening. Actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and give you your contact information in case you want to jump in tonight. You can do one of two ways, toll-free, landline, or cell phone, or whatever you got, 877-448-0433, 877-448-0433. Also, you can email the show, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com, and those are the two ways to get in touch with the show tonight and each and every week here on Tuesdays. Here's what's happening coming up in about 13 minutes from now. We're going to be joined by a guy by the name of Mike McCloud. Mike happens to be the president and CEO of a company called MMA Marketing. Mike has been on the show once before, but we're going to have him back on. If you didn't know, MMA Marketing is the media partner of the Kansas City Barbecue Society. I believe they're starting their second year of working together, and Mike and his crew have been able to get in some really good sponsorships and bring some more publicity and overall vision and recognition to the KCBS here over the last few years as they've been doing business together. Sam's Club, certainly a big one. Of course, the Kingsford Chase and the Rancher's Beef Cup, all that good stuff. So stuff that we'll be able to talk to him about. And then we'll actually probably tide him over into the third segment as well. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask Mike yourself, of course, you're free to call in and do that, or you can submit them via email or do it on Twitter, and I'll be sure to ask him those. But I figure why not go ahead and take a guy who's a businessman, who's in it for profit, and turn it around a little bit. He gets to have a unique view of the KCBS and how it works when he's involved in any decision-making, and see what he thinks of, or at least get his kind of as unbiased opinion as he can be, since he's kind of doing business or a client of his, but just get his personal opinion. How does the organization function? How is the BOD? Is there all of this infighting and people pushing personal agendas that you hear about all the time? Is it something as an organization, should they look at going a for-profit type of a deal versus staying nonprofit? Are they holding on to what the KCBS used to be versus growing into what it is and what it has become? So I think it would be an interesting take to get from a guy that actually is doing business with them right now. That's Mike McCloud, and he is the CEO and president of MMA Marketing. If you want to check them out a little bit before he jumps on here in just about 11 minutes from now, MMA Creative, MMAcreative.com is the website, and you can check out, see all the other clients that they have, all that good stuff. Fourth segment, Free For All, of course, wrapping up the first hour of the show. Your chance to win fun prizes that are free, shipped to you for free by sponsors of the show who want to get their stuff out there. So your way to kind of get a true test of some of the cool products that are out there in the barbecue and grilling market right now. Those include, of course, the Frog Mats, the El Capitan Santa Maria-style barbecue seasoning. You have wood smoke products from Green Leaf Barbecue, a Kosmo's Q injection pack, which has both the chicken and pork soaks and the beef and pork injections. So 4 things to choose from there. Well, you get 4 things. You just have to choose that one. Certainly an all-inclusive prize pack. And then we have planks, and we have wild game rub from the good folks over there at Easy Hook. So there you go. I mean, it's just a fun and wonderful thing. And that's the 4-segment free-for-all hosted by Hall of Fame broadcaster, legendary Cubs announcer, Harry Carey. And then coming in the second hour, we're going to be joined by a longtime friend of the show, hasn't been around in a while, but always good to chase homebbq.com pitmaster down and see what's up with my main man, Kevin Bevington. Kevin, very hugely successful on the competition circuit for a number of years. People that were down there in the Florida Barbecue Association obviously know that he was really owning FBA for 5 years running, Team of the Year that many times in a row. He was also president of the Florida Barbecue Association. He's released some DVDs on backyard barbecue and backyard grilling. Just a wealth and a breadth of knowledge. On top of all of that, he has wildly successful sauces and rubs that he sells. So it's really going to be great to catch up with a friend of mine and somebody who has been very important to barbecue here over the last 5, 6, 7 years plus, Kevin Bevington of homebbq.com, and that'll be after dark. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Look, I'm going to take this off topic, but I just have to. I feel it's my duty as a consumer to make sure that, when you're selling something, if you're in the business of retail, or whether it be online or whether it be in a storefront, at least to me, it's important that you are putting everything out there and disclosing everything. For instance, I've been in the market for an ankle holster for a pistol, and I read a bunch of reviews, and I was going on a bunch of different websites to try and make sure that I was going to and buying the one that is best for the particular outfit that I have. And spent countless hours figuring out which one I wanted. Finally decided on one. Then I had to scour the internet to figure out where the hell I was actually going to have to buy this thing. And so then I found one that was specific to the make that I have. And then, nowhere in the main site, nowhere in anything did it say that this was a pre-order item, except in the very, very small drop-down box when I was picking the make and model. And it just said pre-order, but it didn't explain anything about it. And when I got a receipt after I paid for it, it didn't say you're going to have to wait an extra 10 to 14 days because it's a pre-order model. None of that. So a week went by, and I just shot a nice little email over just asking when it was going to ship, and they said, oh, this is a pre-order. I said, well, it didn't say anything on the website about being a pre-order, and I was going to have to pay, and they went back, and of course, now we're having a back and forth. They're telling me how wrong I am. I'm taking screenshots all the way along, and they said, well, if you click the drop-down box, you can see it says pre-order. I said, well, look, I don't want to get in a fight here. It's not that I don't want it, but as a consumer, I would like to know up front on that main page under description that this is a pre-order item, and it's going to take 10 days to 2 weeks before you actually get it sent out. And maybe I'm saving you a headache so you don't get any more emails like this, or maybe I'm just kind of a pain in the ass like that. I don't know. And then I ended up getting a letter from the owner who basically kind of chastised me a little bit, called me buddy. I mean, how professional are we over here? So the name of that company, by the way, gmstactical.com, gmstactical.com. Don't do business over there. No matter how good you think they're doing, they just rub me the wrong way. So I just want to make sure we are not going any business their way. If you're, if you're into the concealed carry type thing, it's many other places you can go that you'll be much more happier with. gmstactical.com is a no-no as far as the Barbecue Central show is concerned. All right, we're going to step away. We're going to come back with Mike McCloud, MMA Creative CEO and President. We're going to talk about all things barbecue and grilling as they relate to the Kansas City Barbecue Society. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com are the ways to get in contact with the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show.
Barbecue fans travel from all over the country and the world to learn the secrets of real pit barbecue from Grand Champion Pitmaster Conrad Haskins. Now take your skills to the next level with a Barbecue Institute Pitmaster class. You'll learn how to make sauces, rubs, and smoke mouth-watering barbecue every time you cook. Your new skills will impress friends and family. Internet forums, blogs, and Facebook are full of success stories from our graduates. Upcoming classes locations include Rock City Rib Fest, Rochester, New York, Lexington, Massachusetts, Lang Factory Test Kitchen in Georgia, Fort Worth, Texas, Fredericksburg, Texas, Houston, Texas, Monroe, Washington, and Kennewick, Washington. For more information, class dates, and contests we'll be competing in, visit www.bbqclass.com. That's bbqclass.com.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back, 13 past the hour. This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks over at the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices, not to mention a host of other products that make your barbecue and grilling life easier. Two ways to find them. You can find them on the internet, thebbqguru.com. You can also find them, or you can call them if you want on your phone. It's a toll-free call, 800-288-GURU. It's the good folks over at the Barbecue Guru. All right, 877-448-0433 is the number to call in to get in on the show tonight. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email. Don't forget, coming up in the second hour, Kevin Bevington, pitmaster of homebbq.com, will be joining me. But as promised, joining me now to talk a little barbecue is the media partner of the Kansas City Barbecue Society, CEO of MMA Creative. And joining me again here on the show for the second time, Mike McCloud. Welcome back to the show. Happy that you made time for us, and so we can talk a little bit about the KCBS and MMA Creative. I guess for the people that might not be aware of how you guys came together, how long you been now media partners with KCBS, and how were you kind of lucky enough to score the contract there?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. I think we're going into our fifth year now with KCBS. We did a little preliminary work in late 2006, but the contract became official January 1, 2007. And we just completed our first full 4-year contract and have renewed a second 4-year contract with KCBS.
Mike McCloud, CEO and president of MMA Creative, joining me here on the show. Mike, competition barbecue continues to grow, struggling economy and all. Obviously, fuel prices rising, it seems, daily now. Sam's Club jumps in with both feet this year, has their own series, which has been met with a lot of positive reaction. How long did it take to put that deal together, and how do you two settle on specifics?
Well, it took quite a long time to get to the right decision makers at Sam's, but once we did, it went pretty fast. They had warmed up to barbecue. I think that had recognized how big barbecue was, not only in competition, but for the consumers. And once we were sitting at the table with them and made the overall KCBS presentation and pitch, they embraced it, and they ran with it fairly quickly. It took us about probably 3 or 4 months to get it all lined up and agreed to, and then it took us another 3 or 4 months to start announcing it and integrating it appropriately in the system. That started mid to late 2009, and it was basically their first foray into the sport seriously on a multidimensional, broad strategy, which they have expanded greatly. Actually, I'm sorry, that was 2010, and they've expanded greatly into the barbecue arena in 2011, as everyone knows now. And I think they've got bigger and better plans for 2012. So hopefully all goes well this year with the Sam's Club Professional Barbecue Tour, and we can help them continue to see value in barbecue, and they can bring value to the industry, and it'll be a good win-win going into the future.
Like, at least from some of the feedback that I've seen, majority of it had been popular, of course, but there seems to have been some type of blowback by some people who felt a little left out, mainly those folks in that Northeast, New England area of the country. How were regions picked, and maybe why no love for those New Englanders up there? Nebs has always been a very big supporter of the KCBS in, the past 10, 15, 20 years.
Well, I'm not too familiar with any blowback, but I know there are a couple of events up in that area, what would be a northeast eastern seaboard area. I think the key for most people in our barbecue arena to understand when it comes to sponsorships is that corporations have what they call DMAs, marketing arenas that are important to them to grow for some reason or another. They may be doing extremely well in a particular region or zone. I'm not saying that's what the case was for Sam's Club in that particular situation, but we work with corporations on a day in and day out basis, and while we may be trying to get them to do something in all 50 states, they may come to us and say, look, these 13 states matter to us because we're doing pretty good in the other states. Mm-hmm. So when we piece together programs, it's usually more of a reactive and strategic approach on their part. And it doesn't mean that they won't expand it. In fact, my hopes are that the series, which has 25 events and one national event this year, will be expanded to ultimately, if I'm really going to dream, that it'll be in every Sam's Club parking lot in America. So it has lots of room to grow. It has lots of wings to spread, and hopefully if it goes extremely well this year, maybe they look at next year if they can't do any more events than the 25, maybe they pick 25 different zones, 25 different areas to kind of spread the love in that respect. But they may end up just adding to it. It may end up being 30, 40, 50 events next year as they try to get a little bit deeper and deeper into barbecue.
Mike McCloud is my guest here on the Barbecue Central radio show. Mike, I'm a kind of sales hack by trade myself. So when you were looking to, was this KCBS and MMA looking to get a sponsorship of something like of this going on, of this magnitude, or is this Sam's Club trying to come back at you initially? How was this whole thing even sparked up?
It was a little bit of both. We knew that barbecue teams were great patrons of Sam's Club. Mm-hmm. And when we finally got an opportunity to sit down with them and show them the story and show them the facts that we knew, they shared more facts with us too. And it turned into a partnership type strategy, although I have to use that term loosely because we're dealing with a nonprofit organization and a for-profit organization. Right. But it turned into a strategy of where Sam said, okay, here's what we would like to achieve if you can help us achieve that. And then B, we would like to help you achieve your goals. What are KCBS's goals? They were very interested and very, I think, thoughtful in trying to embrace the society in a way that made sense on both sides of the table. It wasn't a do X, Y, and Z for me kind of relationship. It wasn't a one-way street.
So give us kind of a quick breakdown. I know you mentioned there was going to be 25 events, and they build from there to the ultimate winner. But how does the whole series break down? And I guess more importantly, what kind of prizes and money are we looking at when it comes all the way down to the end?
In pure cash, we're looking at $400,000 as the prize purse, wow. And it's going to be dispersed over 20 local contests, 5 regional contests, and then ultimately the national championship, which will be in Bentonville, Arkansas. And at that championship, there will be a $100,000 prize purse. So each one of the locals will have a $10,000 prize purse available to the 30 teams that are at those contests. And then 30 teams from those local contests will move on to the regional, where the prize purse will be doubled. And then from the regionals, the qualifiers, the best performers there will move on to the national, where they'll have a $100,000 prize purse.
So certainly a large amount of cash, right?
Well, it's significant. It's the largest in history, I believe, in competitive barbecue history. I know there have been a lot of other one-off events that may have had $125,000 or $100,000 before, but no one's strung together this amount of money just for prize purse, and there's going to be a whole lot more in goodies and what we call goodie bags or goodie carts, as they refer to them. When we did the test pilot in Midwest City, Oklahoma last year, they took the goodie bag concept to a whole new level. They wheeled out those big dolly carts and had about $400 or $500 worth of product sitting on there for each and every team that was at that contest. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to do that at 25 or 26 events, but I think they've got some cool things up their sleeves, and it'll be rewarding for everyone who gets to participate.
Mike McCloud, President, CEO of MMA Creative, joining me here on the show. You know, Mike, you kind of mentioned it yourself, but there really seems to be a growing number of contests that are really paying out some big bucks. Sam's obviously is a big one now. Ronnie Cates has done a number of their Smoke in the Water events, always had some big purses, and those are obviously kind of tied in with that whole NASCAR event. Do you see bigger purses on a more of a consistent basis in these years ahead?
I hope so. The interesting thing and the ironic thing is that we've just come through a hellacious recession. You know, over the last 3 years, getting sponsorships has been probably one of the toughest things that any company or any entity could try to do. Just ask NASCAR. They've lost sponsors left and right. Yeah, we've been fortunate in this industry to see more corporations embrace competitive barbecue. I think food as a whole is a rising tide for many numerous reasons, and we've been able to benefit from that. And we've been able to make the proposition as an official agency on behalf of KCBS for the last 4 or 5 years. There's actually been someone working day in and day out telling companies in America why they should be integrated and why they should care about competitive barbecue. That's made a big difference. It's a rising tide for hopefully a lot of contests. And I think you're seeing even in local contests that I may not be able to have an impact on, the organizers can point to what's going on at big contests. They can point to the Sam's Club and the Tysons and the Ranchers Reserves and the Reesers, you know, these companies that are starting to get truly integrated and sponsor these contests. Hopefully they can point to that and convince their local companies and local potential sponsors to get involved in that particular barbecue contest in their hometown. So hopefully we will see it improve. Hopefully as the economy gets stronger and companies get a little bit more aggressive and comfortable with investing their dollars, I think they'll put a lot of those dollars into barbecue. There's many reasons to do it, and it's smarter to do it than just doing a broad stroke sponsorship in some traditional sport that's losing audience. Our events and our industry is gaining audience, so that's a key component that I think that all of us should pay attention to.
Mike, I don't know if you're able to really speak on this specifically, considering where you might be at in negotiations or contract signings. But last year, obviously, there was that Ranchers Beef Cup. There was also the Kingsford. Is there something similar that's going to happen this year as well with those two companies?
Yes, we just announced yesterday rules and regulations on the Kingsford Points Chase. It's expanded. It was, I think, about 16 events last year, and I think we added another 9 events this year, so it's already up to 25. That's another great sign of how Kingsford believes there's value in this and continuing to invest more and more into barbecue. The Beef Cup was a great hit last year. We know that Ranchers Reserve was very happy with it and pleased with it, and we're in talks with them right now on bringing it back and expanding it a little bit this year. We haven't been able to nail everything down there, so I can't make a specific announcement about it, but we feel pretty good about where it's going. Another category another company that came into the mix this year already, and we've announced some specifics to events that have been chosen, is Reesers. Reesers Fine Foods, which has American Classics potato salad. They're getting involved by having a 5th category competition at about, I think, 8 contests throughout America. So we're seeing more and more opportunities, more and more companies come into the fold, and we're excited about that.
Any other big plans in the future for KCBS and MMA Creative to team up with some other really big companies out there for either one-time events or perhaps for more series-type chases aside from the Reesers that you just mentioned?
Greg, we are constantly looking at the future and pitching major companies on concepts that haven't been even considered yet, and then concepts that have been proven, and trying to get them to adapt it in a way that makes sense for them. So the short answer is yes. We think there is more to come. There are a lot of exciting ideas that are on the table right now that we're moving forward. As you know, we're right in the thick of launching the Great American Barbecue Tour for the 4th season.
Mm-hmm.
It kicks off in, T-minus 30-something days. But we're also in talks with a lot of brands on doing a second tour so that we can hit some more barbecue events and have a wider reach. So we're pretty excited about that. But there's just stay tuned. There's a lot more coming down the pipeline, we believe.
It seems to me, Mike, that you have a lot of food to eat. They're hot events. You got fire around them. What about like a Pepsi or a Coke or a Budweiser, some type of beer sponsor or some type of liquid sponsor? Nobody's jumping on board yet, or are they in the process?
It's.
It just seems to make sense, right?
It makes too much sense, and I guess that's why we haven't been able to make it happen. we were very fortunate this year to bring Big Red to the table. They were very excited about barbecue and have flirted with barbecue some and done some things there, and they were able to join on as the official soda of KCBS. So we're very, very proud to have them in our corporate stable. The beer and the spirits industry have been interesting nuts to try to crack, and I can tell you that we still have hope. We haven't given up on that, but we've run into a lot of obstacles, and I think some of it is the way they're structured. If I'm Budweiser and I've got a gazillion dollars, I'm going to the Super Bowl where I can reach a gazillion eyeballs, mm-hmm. and I think that we may not have hit that level on the radar yet that gets a Pepsi or a Coke. Well, now we're obviously not even interested in Pepsi or Coke because of Big Red, but a Budweiser or some other major spirit, for some reason they're slowly looking at the opportunities and find ways to spend their money elsewhere for the time being. Obviously, you do have some events that are very tailored around a particular spirit. You take the Jack, which goes on in Lynchburg every year,
mm-hmm.
and we've learned that they believe that's their investment into barbecue, even though we believe that they could do a lot better. But that's as far as I probably should go with the conversation. Like I said, we're constantly working on that particular category, and we hope to have some big announcements there in the near future.
All right, Mike McCloud joining us here on the show. Mike, we're going to take a quick break, so go ahead and just hang back for about 3 minutes, and we'll raise you back up here as soon as we come out of the commercial break. Lots of great conversation going on here with Mike McCloud. Again, he is the president, CEO of MMA Creative. MMAcreative.com is his website. 877-448-0433 if you want to call in, ask Mike a question. Sure, we'll be more than happy to field the call. Also, you can email the questions in, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. We'll be back with more Mike McCloud talking barbecue, KCBS, and all that great stuff right here on the show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show.
Forget going from site to site to get all of your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and egg accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred's also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber, as well as a full line of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. And you can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichlin of Barbecue U fame. Check out Fred on the web at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Introducing Kosmos Q. Kosmos Q injections and marinades use only the finest ingredients, and they mix easily, never clotting or caking. From our beef injection to our pork injection, you're guaranteed to wow your friends, family, and judges. And don't forget to check out our Kosmos Chicken Soak for that moist and tender chicken you're gonna love.
And don't forget about Kosmo's new pork soak and rubs.
You can find us at cosmosq.com and select retailers across the nation. For quality injections, marinades, and rubs, it's Kosmos Q.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
36 past the hour. This portion of the show brought to you by Stephen DeFranco Jeweler here in beautiful Willoughby, Ohio. Look, nothing says class when you're taking that walk to get your grand championship like having a world-class timepiece on your watch. And now you can get a huge barbecue brother and sister discount. He is a Centralite owner of Stephen DeFranco Jeweler, Stephen DeFranco. Go on the BCRN homepage, scroll down to the Stephen DeFranco Jewelers banner, click on it, then call in for your best pricing. Let me know when you do that. You'll be happy you did. Stephen DeFranco Jewelers, proud sponsor of the Barbecue Central radio show. And we'll head back over and pick up our conversation with Mike McCloud. Mike is the president and CEO of MMA Creative. They are the media partner of Kansas City Barbecue Society. Mike, thanks for hanging with me through the break. Got a couple questions here coming in through the instant chat that happened as the show was actually going on live. Somebody wanted to know if the Sam's Club sponsorship interferes at all with the Restaurant Depot benefit for KCBS membership.
No, it didn't interrupt the office. Restaurant Depot. I had Office Depot on my mind. I'm sorry about that. It didn't interrupt or trump that. It was grandfathered in, and Sam's was very amicable to us continuing that. I think it's a discount program or a coupon program.
All right, there you go. Hopefully that answers the question for Don G, who was wondering that. Mike, let's go ahead and turn our attention, if we can, to the KCBS as an organization for a moment. You know, you're a businessman, obviously successful with the business that you have. You've been partner with them for a while now. As an outsider looking into how the inner workings of the organization functions, you know, I've talked to a number of people who say there is just too much of this infighting and all these personal agendas being pushed around, doing what's best for the organization, or trying to do what's best for themselves versus the organization as a whole. As somebody that kind of sees it here and there, is this a lot of to do about nothing? Do you see some of that? Where do you kind of take out on that?
You know, that's a tough topic. I do see a lot of time spent on subjects that as just a pure business person I'd scratch my head about. The way I'd like to refer to it is we kind of diverge off onto a tangent sometimes that's focused on minutia instead of the mission. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating only from the standpoint that, you know, as a benevolent dictator in my own business where I get to make all the decisions and move forward, it's tough to play that servant role and just sit on the sideline and be quiet, which is what my role is with that board, since I'm not a board member per se. I try to advise the board as much as I can from a PR standpoint, a marketing standpoint, but I don't have a vote. So it's tough to hear some of the, you know, back and forth and I guess personal, I wouldn't call it personal agendas, but it certainly becomes personal because you're talking about people who are volunteering their time, and they're volunteering their time because they're passionate about what they do. And when you get 12, 13 people who are passionate about what they do and the perspective that they come from into one room, and you throw a topic out on the table that tends to have red meat in it, pun intended, you know, it can get kind of hairy sometimes. And it's like politics, you know. Sometimes you don't like to see the sausage made, and it's a necessary component to what's going on. The good thing is I think every board member that puts their heart and soul into it is because they think their perspective is the right way. It just so happens that sometimes there's an opposing person on the other side of that debate, and it certainly can be challenging, especially to sit there and bite your lip.
I mean, is that something...
I'm not used to doing that day to day.
Yeah, I mean, is it something that, you know, if you have boards, the majority of them are going to run like that, or are there some pieces of advice that if you could, you would be able to give them to try and make it run a little bit more effectively, efficiently, and focus on the goal versus, as you had said, the minutia of the day?
Greg, it's hard. I think this board, of all the boards that I sit on, is one of the trickiest and toughest to have cohesiveness to it, because you've got people coming from all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
I sit on bank boards and chamber boards, and I attend a lot of meetings day in and day out that are related to this kind of nonprofit, mission-driven scenario. And I think the differing factor is that most of the other boards that I sit on, everyone lives in the same community. And in this situation in KCBS, you've got 12 people from different parts of the country, and it's just hard sometimes to get them all on the same page. The biggest piece of advice I'd give them is two things. One is perspective. Always try to understand the perspective from the other people, and don't take it personal. You've got to be you've got to try to be as objective as you can and as a professional as you can. And just because you don't win every argument doesn't mean that you need to take your toys and leave the sandbox.
Right.
So that would be the only two pieces of advice that I would throw out there.
Mike McCloud joining us here on the show. Mike, when you were able to secure KCBS as a client, kind of looking at what you were hoping to do or what you had proposed the KCBS that you would like to kind of have accomplished over a certain span of time, what kind of metrics did you install, or what kind of goals did you put in place in order to track how productive MMA was being in conjunction with Kansas City Barbecue Society?
Well, the metrics, first of all, that's a great question. We put metrics into the contract that basically said if we achieve this, we want to be able to renew the contract, because it would be a benchmark of success. Mm-hmm. And some of the key components of those benchmarks were growth in membership, growth in the corporate platform, and growth in sanctioned contests. And in all of those cases, in the first 4 years of the contract, we exceeded every one of our benchmarks. Some of those benchmarks in year 2, some others in year 3, and then toward the end of year 4. So we were able to make a significant contribution to the bottom line of KCBS. We were able to brand the organization and bring more national prominence to the organization, and we were able to build a corporate platform that was very integrated and broad and deep. So we were able to achieve a lot of things. On the internal side of things at my company, we had to make significant time investments, because it was a performance-driven contract. We were not billing for our services along the way. We were betting on the come, and it was more painful on our side of the equation or the ledger, because we were constantly putting something in and taking a leap of faith that this ultimately was going to pay off. So it took us about 3.5 years to get to a point where it really financially started making sense for MMA, and that's why we knew it would take that long, and that's why we asked for a long-term contract, and that's why we asked for an automatic renewal if we reached certain benchmarks, because we were going to have to invest for years to get this momentum and get the snowball going down the hill. And once we did, we didn't want to have to step away from it.
So as you look into the new contract, what would you like to see, or what are some of the goals and metrics you have in place over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years?
Well, more of the same. We want to continue growing the society. We want membership to increase. We want sponsor corporate partners to increase. We want to see success across the spectrum, because we want everyone's boat to rise and float well. And then for the better part, or actually one of the significant changes that we made in the contract, is that we switched from a performance-based model to a retainer-based model just on the marketing services. So it's a little more equally yoked now, and we feel pretty good about it.
Let me ask you this question here before I let you go, Mike. And by the way, we're talking with Mike McCloud. He is the president and CEO of MMA Creative. And you might be better off to answer this than maybe some of the board members. But, someone who is a business owner, you're in a for-profit business. When you look at what the KCBS started out as, just a club for some friends who liked barbecue, and then you see its evolution over the past 20-plus years up until today, do you see an organization maybe struggling to hold on to what it used to be versus what it is currently? And do you think it might improve the organization as a whole if they might ditch that whole not-for-profit and go to for-profit? There's no denying that competition barbecue keeps getting bigger and bigger every year.
I don't think there's any rule that says it's going to have to flip over from nonprofit to for-profit. I think it can continue to fulfill its mission as a nonprofit, and we can continue building partnerships that make sense along that charter line. I think as far as the way it was and the way it is and the way it's going to be, Darwinism gives you 3 rules. You adapt, you migrate, or you perish. And I think what KCBS, just like any organization, take it, be it NASCAR, NBA, World Series of Poker, whatever, you do have to adapt as time goes by. I tell you what, the last 3 or 4 years have been extremely difficult in the business arena for nonprofit organizations and for-profit organizations, and there was major change that had to occur in many respects. In many different entities, and if you don't adapt or migrate during those times, then you just perish. So I don't look back wistfully and think, wow, I wish it was still this way. I don't look forward and say, wow, that scares me how it could ultimately be. I constantly try to do the best that I can and fulfill the mission for KCBS, and I think that's what everyone needs to be focused on. And sometimes that means we move left, and sometimes it means we move right. But I don't think it changes the corporate for-profit, nonprofit structure.
Mike McCloud is the president and CEO of MMA Creative. Again, their web presence, MMAcreative.com. Mike, I certainly appreciate the insight and the candor for the conversation tonight. Most of all, I appreciate you sticking around for 2 segments, and hopefully we won't wait too long to do it again soon. I appreciate it.
I absolutely enjoyed it. If I could put one shout out, we need 5 teams in Santa Fe, New Mexico to join the SAM series. I hope someone will go out there and do it.
All right, let's link it up. Thanks for coming on, Mike. I appreciate it. There he is. It's Mike McCloud. Your thoughts, your concerns, your comments. What'd you think? Hey, I just like somebody that's going to come on and shoot right from the hip. I figured once we got back from the break and I started asking questions about the KCBS, inherently it's got to be a little bit of an awkward situation where you're going to actually have to maybe criticize your client. But he did, so I thought that was pretty cool. Somebody that's not afraid to share his opinion. I mean, he's a businessman. He sees business stuff every day. All right, we're going to step away and do this 4th segment free-for-all deal. If you want to win fun stuff for free, you can call in 877-448-0433. You can also email the show at any time if you want, weigh in on the conversation. If you just want to call in next segment to weigh in on the interview for the last 2 segments, you can do that as well. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
53 past the hour, 7 minutes till the top, which is be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, depending on where you're at. Make your time zone adjustments as necessary. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe, 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com is the email. Yoder's Smoky Mountain Barbecue is sponsoring this portion of the show. They make their grills and smokers in the Amish country of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, helping you enjoy easy and profitable barbecues for years to come. You can find them on the internet at Serious BBQs, bbqs.com. Well, you gotta love it. Gotta love that. They have some of the best. If you haven't gone over to Yoder Smoky Mountain Barbecue's website, SeriousBBQs.com, and checked out the my favorite. I'm going to get one day. It's not going to be an offset cooker or anything like that, but they have these chicken cookers, and they have this huge one, and it's got 3 different sections, and you load it all with like charcoal and wood, and you put on like 1 billion. I think it's roughly 1 billion. 1 billion chicken thighs. Or whatever, chicken, whatever. I like chicken thighs myself. So you could put on like 1 billion chicken thighs on the first grate, and then this whole nother grate like comes down like right on the top of it. And then when it's time to flip, you just take these handles and whoop, and it flips it right over. Like with no effort whatsoever. If you just Google it, it's like one of the coolest things ever. I almost impulsed buy one of those things about a year ago. And then I got to talking with Laverne Gingrich, and it was fabulous. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then you just take your power washer, because everybody has a power washer, right? I mean, if you're in barbecue, you have a power washer and you want to clean stuff off really quick. So you take these grates off because they come off. And you just put them up against the wall and you power washed all the chicken, all the chicken fat off. You clean, put them back on, done. Boom, out of here. It's fabulous. I mean, you have to go over and check these things out if you haven't seen them. It could make your life, especially if you're a big caterer, you got the chicken cookers. SeriousBBQs.com is the place to go. And just look up one of their YouTube videos for the chicken cooker. I don't even know if it's called chicken cooker, but just look through all the videos and then stop at the one that has chicken in it. Because it's fabulous. They have a complete line of wonderful rubs and sauces as well. See, Doug Lazard just got a pressure washer. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Now go out and get the Yoder Smoky Mountain Barbecue Chicken Cooker. And you can have fun and excitement for the rest of your life. You don't even need to tune in anymore Tuesdays. You can just get the show on podcast. All right, if you want a prize, I kind of just talked right through the whole freaking segment. I didn't even think about it. 877-448-0433. Just call in and tell me you want a prize, and you can pick it out. The prize closet, as we call it. It's just located behind me. Second week in a row. Cancer sucks. Oh, out of the way. Not as limber as I used to be in my young age. All right, let's see here. Area code 912, you're on.
Greg.
Yes, who's this?
This is Douglas Lizard, Raymond Cato.
Hey, Raymond. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? I want a prize.
All right, prize it is, Raymond. We have a number of things to choose from. Did you have one in mind in particular?
I didn't. What do you have?
All right, so we have a Kosmo's Q variety pack, which gets you the brisket and the pork injections, plus the chicken and the pork soak. We also have frog mats. We have El Capitan Santa Maria-style barbecue seasoning. We have wine-infused Oakwood products from Greenleaf Barbecue, and we have wild game rub from bbqhooks.com. What would you like, though?
The wine chunks, or wine-infused.
The wine-infused Oakwood products.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good to me. So, Ray, you know the deal. Go ahead and send me your shipping info, and I'll forward that down to Tom in California, and he'll ship them right back out to you on the East Coast.
All right, great. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for calling in, Ray. Raymond Cato. Dude, let me tell you, man, back in the day, Raymond Cato used to win it all every single time, baby. That's right. I think Ray has won, like, every single prize ever, right, Ray? I think you have. Area code 323, go ahead.
Hi, this is Sylvie. How you doing, Greg?
Hey, how are you, Sylvie?
Pretty good.
All right. Would you like a prize tonight, Sylvia?
Yes, I would. I like the Kosmo products.
The Kosmo's products, that's right, because you get the beef and the pork injections, plus you get the chicken and the pork soaks. It's fabulous, isn't it?
It is. Great stuff.
All right, so go ahead and send me your shipping info at greg@thebbqcentralshow.com, and Darian will get you hooked right up.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks for calling in. 323. There you go. Representing the 323. Nice. Is the ladies' man would say, oh, it's a lady. I'm just going to sit here with my bottle of Courvoisier and give away the prizes, because that's what I do the best. Never mind. Yes, that's right, Paul Huff, a fish sandwich. All right, one more, and then I got to jump out. Area code 919, go ahead.
Oh.
Hello.
How you doing?
Who's this?
This is Mike in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Pretty good.
Mike, would you like a prize tonight?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I would.
Well,
how about that Cosmos Q?
See, you're one caller too late. We just gave away Cosmos Qs to Sylvie.
Oh.
If you can believe
what
it.
What do you have left?
Well, we got frog mats. We have El Capitan Santa Maria style barbecue seasoning. We also have what's the other thing? The wild game rub from bbqhooks.com.
How about the El Capitan?
El Capitan it is. Go ahead, send me an email, reference what you won, and send that to greg@thebbqcentralshow.com. Make sure your shipping address is in there, and we'll get you hooked right up.
I'll do it.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Beat it, Mike. All right, we're going to wrap the first hour. When we come back, we're going to have Kevin Bevington of homebbq.com. Gotta love the homebbq.com. Lots of stuff to talk to Kevin about. Lots of places to catch up on. Haven't had him on the show in a while. Thanks to my second and third segment guests for the first hour. It was Mike McCloud of MMA Creative. MMAcreative.com is his web address. Gave us some thoughts about how he was able to put these big deals together, help promote barbecue, and also gave us his insight as to how the KCBS and the BOD is kind of working from an inner structure from his vantage point. He's a business owner, for crying out loud. All right, we'll step away. We'll do a quick Kent Whitaker deck chef recipe, and then, and only then, we will come back with the second hour. We call it the After Dark segment. It's the Barbecue Central Radio Show. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Stick around. We'll be right back.